or not. So, welcome everyone. I'm glad to see everybody here. Take a little break from the madness out in the real world. Going to have a mixed program of classical, ragtime, and two world premieres. So I'm really excited about that. And there's Jim Stephenson. We're going to hear his music coming very soon. It's really exciting, but if you blink, you might miss it. Oh, I'm going to take this off because I don't like this cable in your view. So let's start with something a little bit fun. Let's start with I have to remember to do this. If I don't turn my cards, somebody's going to have to remind me. Scott Joplin, The Easy Winners. Well, that's a fun piece, isn't it? I really like how carefree it is. It's like only good times, right? If only life could be like that. I'm going to play another rag now that is part of a genre of novelty rags. How do we differentiate it from regular ragtime? They tend to be actually trying to make a joke in a way. It's lighter, maybe doesn't, it's more of a caricature almost, but not making fun of things, but just having fun with it. A lot of these novelty rags, yeah, I'm wearing my red Crocs again, this time with blue socks. A lot of these novelty rags will take popular tunes and rag them up or jazz them up. So this one by Julius Lenzberg from the 1910s, 1911, 12, yeah, the piano moves. The person who rebuilt it actually commented on that. We got to get it fixed. This one quotes opera, which I think is appropriate because a lot of my friends are opera singers and in classical music and conductors and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you'll find it amusing. You'll certainly find it novel. So it is an appropriate piece for this time of the novel COVID virus. Here we go. This is Julius Lenzberg's operatic rag. That's kind of a funny one, isn't it? I think it is. It's certainly new and novel. How many of you out there know it? Do any of you know it? I don't know if any of you know it. Maybe you do. Lenzberg wrote a couple of other rags, and maybe in the coming weeks I'll play some of those too. Anyway, the next one I'm going to do is a world premiere. It is the right one. James M. Stephenson, but he goes by Jim, and I hope he's still watching. This was a piece that he had kept around for a long time. We were in touch, and I said, hey, do you have anything? And he said he does have this piece that he wrote as a thank you to some friends of his, and hopefully they're watching also. I know that he told them about it, and it's called A New York Minute. And we had a spirited conversation on my Facebook page because I wanted to know whether a New York minute was longer or shorter than an actual minute. And I was hoping that people would might be able to say that it was actually longer than a minute, because then I could play it a bit slower. But the consensus, I would say, was that a New York minute is shorter than a minute, which is really unfortunate. So Jim thought this piece needed 14 fingers to play, and that's not going to happen today. But I'm going to do my best to play it in a New York minute. Let me just run through sections. There's 4 days that it captures, that it characterizes in this piece. The first one, day 1, is Allegro Bronxissimo. The second one is day 2, Listesso Figoroso. Day 3 is Modernarto Felixissimo. And the last day, day 4, is Coda the Guggenheim. Now, if you know Jim, he has a penchant for telling jokes and making puns, very good puns. So you'll have to forgive him for that. Anyway, I've broken the rule that says you're not supposed to talk longer than the music you're going to play, but what can you do? It's only 58.5 seconds if I do it right. Okay, here it is, the world premiere of a New York minute. Hold your seats. Did I do it? Was it a minute? Did anyone time it? I'll go back and check. Jim, thank you for writing that piece. I'm glad I get to use all of my fingers again for the next one. It's a fun piece. You need to make everybody who plays your concerto promise to play that as an encore. Yes, it is a great piece. It is a lot of fun. And next time it'll be even better. All right. So, and by the way, yes, thanks for noticing that, John. Down below in the description of this event, I put a link to Jim's webpage, and there's lots of information there. There's lots of music there. There's bios, and you can get in contact with him and commission him to write pieces, because he's a composer, and he writes music, and he does it for money, too. So, anyway, the next piece is another world premiere, and this one is quite a bit different, by another composer, Ben Hippen. And Ben and I met in college, first week at Harvard, and we were in three classes together, freshman year, and it was great. And Ben was also, I don't want to describe him in a way that is not fair, but he was, he came from a different background from a lot of the people freshman year at Harvard. He's from Iowa. I was from Dallas, and we were both named Ben. There weren't a whole lot of Bens. And we were in music and creative writing. It was a lot of fun, and I got to know him, and he's, super intelligent. And since then, he's had this really, really fascinating career as a composer, as a musician. He's performing now, but he's also a doctor. He's done public health. He has videos out online. He's super smart. He's done programming and writing. And we became reconnected, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't remember. And I found out about his music and I really enjoyed it. I recorded a piece of his in Ukraine with an orchestra there. You can hear it on my YouTube channel, which you can find, and you're welcome to subscribe. Beautiful piece. And so I asked him also if he had any music for me to play, and he sent me this piece called Acceptance. And it's very self-explanatory. It's a beautiful piece, and I'm sure you're going to love it. So here we go. Here is Acceptance by Ben Hippen. And by the way, you can also see down below, there's a Spotify and an Apple Music link where you can buy the album. Isn't that beautiful? I think it really is. And I think it's really appropriate now. And it just makes you think and feel. I like that. Beautiful piece. Thank you, Ben, for sending it to me 3 days ago. It's a really wonderful opportunity for me to play new music. You know, you get to help a piece come to life. And it's not the end of things, of course. And it's not the only part of the process, but it is part of the process. And in a way, every time we make music, we're bringing something to life. And that does give us hope, which we certainly need a lot of right now. And maybe if we can think about the hope that comes from the creative process, that'll be something. Now, I'm going to play a set of 5 short pieces next, and I'm going to ask that, I'm not going to tell you who the composer is, and I want you to guess who it is, okay? Now, don't use any of these apps that can discover what the piece is, or I'm going to tell you the titles of the pieces in English. And if you're clever, I'm sure that you can Google the titles and come up with a composer. Don't do that. If you've played the piece and you absolutely know who the composer is, don't guess. Just send me a message saying, I've played the piece, this is who the composer is. If you're guessing, this is part of the fun, if you're guessing, just type in the comment who the composer is. And when the whole thing's over, I'm going to go back through the comments, and the first three correct guesses will win a CD. Maybe a CD of mine. I've got boxes of them upstairs, and I'll send it to you. Anyway, there are 5 pieces, mystery composer, and maybe as we go along, I'll give you some hints. But anyway, I like them because I don't know if any of you have seen Yo-Yo Ma's tree song that he plays. He's been doing videos in this tree song. So this is, in a way, is kind of my tree song. But I'm going to do 4 better. I'm going to do 5 tree songs. And by the way, that's the only way that I'm going to do better than Yo-Yo. So here are 5 characteristic pieces. Take a guess. Think about what they are. Think about who the composer is. And let me know. Do we need a hint? 1922 was when these pieces were written. Another hint, the publisher of this music is Wilhelm Hansen from Copenhagen. Last hint. This is a very well-known composer. Who wrote a sad waltz. This is also a sad waltz. don't have my screen up yet, so I can't see, but aren't those gorgeous and evocative pieces of the different trees, trees from the composer's homeland, trees that were native, evergreen trees like spruce and fir, aspen. Aspen's not, you know. Anyway, these are native trees to Finland. Does that help? Finland, yes. Finland. Who's the most famous composer in Finland? Rautavaara. No, not Rautavaara. Not yet, anyhow. You can't see it because the glare is so bright. How about that? No, can't see anything because the the contrast is so bad. Okay, anyway, it was by Sibelius. Sibelius, 5 pieces, the trees. Okay, everybody go out and learn those pieces. They're not particularly difficult, but they're incredibly beautiful. So, keeping on the nature trail, I'm going to play a very, very, very popular piece that was written in 2001 by Yiruma. He's a Korean composer, kind of a pops guy. But it's really beautiful, and it sounds like it should be in a soundtrack, which it was. It was in a soundtrack. Twilight, maybe Bella's Lullaby. I haven't seen the movie, haven't read the books. I don't know anything about it. But Yiruma, very popular Korean composer, born in 1978. He's very young. He wrote this piece in 2001. He was very young. He was in school in England at King's College. And this has just become a very popular piece and evocative and emotional for a lot of people. And I thought I would play it. Why not? It is a beautiful piece. And I'm going to pair it with Brahms Intermezzo, because I think that I don't know the backgrounds, the inner workings of the composer's mind and heart. And that doesn't really matter. What's important is what the music evokes and what it inspires in our own hearts and in our own heads. And to me, there's something very sad about these keys, A major, F sharp minor, these alternations to go from here to here, and going down by thirds. Yiruma does it a lot. Brahms does it. It's characteristic of his music. The use of sixths and thirds creates an open emotional sound. And I think that both of these pieces, again, I don't know Yiruma, but I think that there's something probably very personal about how people react to it. I think that there's something very personal to how people react to the Brahms Intermezzo. And so I thought they would make a nice pair. That even with this sadness and melancholy and nostalgia, there's still appreciation, and there's hope, and there's beauty, there's appreciation of beauty, which we definitely all need right now in this chaos, because things are going to continue to get worse right in the moment, but they will eventually get better, as we all hope. We see it every day. We see tragedy, but we also see hope. So I'll finish with these last 2 pieces. Yiruma, River Flows in You, followed by Brahms Intermezzo in A major from Opus 118, number 2, right at the end of his life. Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank my family who is in a quarantine, inside a quarantine. They're all holed up in their rooms, being especially quiet, which is very hard for 9-year-old boys and 11-year-old girls. I want to thank them. Thank you all for listening. I will be posting this live stream recording later. So if you missed any of it, you can always go back and watch. Thanks again. And please don't forget, musicians are having a very hard time right now. Freelance work has completely dried up, so I understand everybody's in a hard place, but if you are able, if you feel like it, you can always send money to me through Venmo, PayPal, Chase QuickTime at my email address, ben@benloeb.com. Thank you again, and I hope to see you all in person soon and certainly online every minute of the day. Bye.